Actually,
Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to Golden Rose Financial Coaching Client Spotlight Series. I have a rock star couple with me today, Garrett and Tatiana, who have just blown my mind. And I'm so excited for them to share their journey with you guys on where they started, what changed for them, where they're at today, to encourage you guys and to just celebrate the work that they have done. So without further ado, we will get started. So Garrett, Tatiana, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tatiana. This is my husband, Garrett.
hello.
We are a couple that live in Southern California, and California is very expensive. But we've been working with Tracy since February of 2024. So for the last 6 months, our life has completely changed. Yeah, we're just a couple living the dream right now, like trying to figure out how to get debt free. And we have a stubborn French bulldog that we love so much. And yeah, we just, yeah, I don't know.
You're good. You're good. So Southern California, you're right. That is one of the most expensive places to live.
Yeah, we both grew up here, so we love it. And we just, I think it doesn't matter where you live, you can make it work as long as you, one, don't have any debt, and two, actually like budget your money. So
Yeah, come up with a plan with your money every month.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. And so tell us, what were some of like the challenges that you were experiencing in like before February? Like where were you guys at in your finances and working together back then?
So we weren't necessarily working together yet. So we're newly married and got married in December of 2023. So at the time when I reached out to Tracy initially through the Ramsey website, kind of just looking to see how I could figure out money, because we actually went to see a house in, what would you say, February, early February, before we contacted you. And it was like kind of a harsh reality check when they started asking lots of financial questions. And then I realized on a personal level for me only that my money was not where it needed to be. And I felt embarrassed, and I felt extremely like a failure. So it was something that was really hard for me. And then I started feeling extremely overwhelmed and like suffocated with finances. And so Garrett noticed it because I had completely shut down after that visit. And so I went to get upon myself and started Googling like how to get debt free, like how to pay off your debt, how to file bankruptcy. Like there was just a bunch of things that came up. And I found like the Ramsey Solutions team, and through their website, after like watching videos, I started feeling somewhat hopeful, and then found Golden Rose Financial. And you actually contacted me first because I chickened out on scheduling. And again, I say everything in I form because it was me doing it before I even asked Garrett to like become my partner, not just in life, but like finances too, right? Because again, we weren't sharing financials at all. He knew my story of where my money was, but we weren't actually sharing an account or anything. So I
Yeah,
think,
we were still
yeah,
working as roommates,
yeah, we were
as Dave
basically
says.
roommates that had paperwork together.
Wow.
So once we met you that first session, I think that whole month was completely life changing, because we ended up getting an account together and then started being partners in all aspects of life, not just we have rings on our fingers. And yeah, we were, yeah, financial partners, everything. So
Yeah. And I think for me, when we're, before working with you, we listed out all of our debts on paper, or, did a soft list out. And I remember telling her, I'm like, yeah, we'll get your debt paid off. And I was like, had no plan in the background, on the backside.
So
yeah, so I think the financial part of it, we both of us, we started differently on different pages, and then once we met you, the two pages were able to align, but before that it was completely separate. So
yeah, and I remember like in our first conversation together, Tatiana, like you thought that you had a spending addiction.
yeah.
And comes to find out, no, you just didn't have a plan. So you guys are newlyweds, like married less than a year, super exciting, like trying to figure out that whole newlywed thing, how to actually be a married couple versus just roommates. And then it was like that hard reality check from like trying to get a house that was like the eye-opening piece of like, oh crap.
It was like the scariest thing ever.
Yeah.
The I tell you, I I called him after our call with the lender at the soft check and stuff, and I was like crying at work, and I told him I don't think we're ever gonna buy a house. Like
Yeah.
it was one of the hardest things I think that I had to ever put into perspective. It was really hard.
So what was one of the biggest fears or challenges that you faced in saying yes to yourselves for you guys to get this stuff under control and reach out for help and work with a coach?
Mm, I wouldn't say pride, right? Because I think I'm not a prideful person, but I think it was more of like coming to the realization that I had to share it with somebody else other than Garrett of
Mm,
this is the reality of how much I have
mhm.
by myself from like student loans, credit cards, car, just the normal things as the Ramsey folks call it. But I think it was hard. That was the hardest thing was like laying it out on paper and sharing it with somebody else and not wanting to be judged or treated weirdly because I was financially in a hole.
Mhm.
And then I also felt like I felt like a burden of asking my husband to contribute his money into the debt that I accrued over the last 15 years of my life. You know what I mean? So I think those were the two biggest challenges for me before aligning with him on money.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think for me, a looking at my like credit card debt that I had accrued, and it was under a certain number, but I wasn't feeling pressured per se. But once we went and saw the house and was like, oh, you're only approved for this much amount, but you could be approved for this amount if you were to pay off, your debts. So that's for me, that's when it was, in addition to everything she just said, it's like, hey, let's do it together.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Awesome. So do you want to share like your starting point with
Like
people
total wise.
if you want to? It's up to
Oh,
you guys.
yeah, it was over 100,000. I honestly need to pull it up to give you the exact number. Um, I'm sorry I did not have that
No.
open.
So I've got it here. I've got it here with me. So
It's
you
a
guys
lot.
you guys have done such amazing transformational work. So I just want to give people the idea of like where you're starting, what you changed, and what's freaking possible. So the debt that you guys started off with was $119,702.
Yeah, it was just
With,
under 120. Yeah.
right? Just under 120. So how much have you guys paid off in
Uh,
6 months?
yeah, so far we have paid off it's over $20,000. That's yeah, it's been a lot. I
From
cannot
our last segment.
$23,403.53.
Okay, say that a little bit louder for the people in the back. How much have you guys
Yeah,
paid off in 6 months?
$23,403.53.
And guess
I
what,
know.
guys? They didn't even sell the car.
No, I know a controversial opinion, an unpopular opinion, but the car was kept for many reasons, and I'm very happy I kept it. But I still can't believe we paid off that amount in 6 months
Yeah.
So
because
how
6 months ago we didn't have. I felt like I didn't have anything to
Yeah.
put towards anything, so I don't even know where that money came from.
well, actually, I was gonna ask, so where did that come from? So you
Well,
you
yeah.
you learned how to like Poshmark it up. Like you guys realized, hey, we have this like a bunch of extra stuff that we don't actually need, that we don't actually use. You sold thousands of dollars of stuff on Poshmark and it all went towards your debt.
Yeah, so the first month I, it was initially the minute we put our finances together, Garrett, I always felt like Garrett was better with his money, even though he did have credit card debt. I always felt like he was a little bit better with his money, at least from the perspective I was standing on. And so the minute we put our money together, it's kind of crazy when you think about the two incomes is better than one. You really don't realize like how much you could do with two incomes versus just your single income. So that initial month, it felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders, partially because his help was like what started it. And then in March, yeah, I went on a little bit of a crazy spree in my closet and just started grabbing stuff that, one, doesn't fit, two, never wear, three, I can't wear because my feet don't like these shoes anymore. Bags from like college and high school. And I sold almost like $3,000 worth of stuff on Poshmark in the span of like a month and a half.
That's
And
awesome.
then on top of that, like I did get a bonus at work. That was my first bonus. And it was not like large, but that entire bonus went towards debt too. So
Mhm.
the initial, yeah, it wasn't a large bonus at all, but I think and normally I would have spent that, and
Mhm.
I put it all towards things that I had already bought.
It's
But yeah,
amazing how your behavior changes when you have a plan.
yeah, yeah.
So something happened when we were working together that was like a hiccup. I'm not going to call it a hurdle or a problem. Garrett, tell us what happened.
So in mid-May, we went on a little mini vacation, and I continue my trend of working for a startup, going on PTO, and then coming back and getting laid off. So I yeah, that's happened twice now. But yeah, I got laid off the day after my birthday, and
Mm,
didn't see it coming at all. We were promised no more layoffs, and they lied.
yeah.
But so anyways, we lost my income, and I we were also promised from the HR I would get my severance and PTO as funds were available. So that meant on that day I didn't I all I had was my check for the past 2 weeks, and that was it.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until like 2 weeks ago I got my PTO, and I'm still waiting for my severance.
Oh,
I know.
goodness.
Barely got some of it,
Oh
barely.
my goodness.
So yeah, I mean we went into a little bit of a mini freak out. We canceled a bunch of, extra stuff that we, weren't necessities. And within within a week I would say I had a new job.
Yeah.
But really we came together, we canceled the extra stuff we didn't need, and we
We canceled extra payments that we were going to make.
yeah.
So we were back to like a almost like a storm mode initially before he got the other job, and we canceled any extra payments on credit cards and just kept it to bare minimum. And then another thing that we did was we canceled our honeymoon, which again, like this is something that I think working with Tracy for the last 6 months, we would not have done that if we had not been working with her. I think because of the mindset would have been back in like the old days where we didn't think it was like worth it. Like, why are we going to get reimbursed for what we could get? So that way we would have a like larger emergency like cushion.
Yeah.
Um, and then that kind of was a mess. Do you want to talk about
and
that?
then and then like just shout out to you, Tracy. You were able to jump on with us like the day after,
Mhm.
because initially we were trying to cancel with you. We're like, oh, we gotta cut this.
Yeah, we needed to cut costs everywhere.
Yeah,
We were
and
so nervous. I know.
yeah, so we jumped on a call with you, and you helped us figure it out, and
Yeah.
you came up with,
Tracy
you
kept us calm.
yeah, Tracy. But the idea came from when we canceled our honeymoon. We would call the bank, or call a credit card and say, hey, there's a refund coming, please send us that check.
Yeah.
And Apple Card, don't ever get an Apple Card, they decided to keep the money for themselves, and
Yeah.
they put it towards my big balance.
Yeah.
which indirectly paid off the card. So, I
So
mean,
yeah, so basically we had his 2 weeks check and then just my income. And I was in freak out mode initially, and then talking to Tracy, I talking to you, like you literally you were able to, set us straight and like keep us cool, calm, and collected. And it was hilarious afterwards because yeah, he got a job within a week, but even though we didn't have like a stable income yet, like at all, we were able to maintain everything that we had, like our home, like all over 4 walls, right? So it
Yes.
was it was something that if we wouldn't have started with you in February, I don't know where we would be
mm,
at when that happened. I
And
having yeah, I don't
and I
know.
remember you guys like celebrating where you were at in
Yeah.
this job loss because you guys had already paid off 12 freaking credit cards.
I know, I know.
That
We had
was
paid a
12
lot.
12 fewer payments than what you would have had to make beforehand. So, ah,
I,
that so proud of you guys. So, what does life look like now for you?
well, we're still paying debt off, right? So we've
yeah.
only paid well, not only we've paid a good chunk, right? Almost 24K in 6 months, which is amazing. So we're still obviously paying off our debt, but our life looks less stressful financially. I mean, we only have 4 minimum payments now, right? Because we've paid off like 16 balances. And so we only have like four, and maybe we paid off, I think it's actually 17 total accounts. So we have four left. I believe there was 21. We have four left. And so technically we only have four minimum payments, but all of the minimums combined back in February were like just over like 3,500. And now we can put all of that and extra on the four cards that we're trying to pay off now.
Yeah.
So we're still paying off debt. We feel less stressed though financially, and everything's paid, and we don't feel broke.
Yeah.
Yes, you don't
And
feel broke. Yeah.
and the other thing is when we both want something, we talk to each other, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
where she'll say like, "Oh, I want this new pair of shoes or whatever," and I'm like, "Well, hang on. Do you do
Yeah,
you want to use your fund money towards that?"
yeah, yeah. Garrett
And
keeps
and
me on my
then
toes.
yeah, and then when I want something, it's she'll do the same thing, and
Yeah,
we keep each other accountable.
accountability has gone up quite a bit. And I know that if I had not been sharing an account with him now, I would probably, I don't know, right? Like, obviously, like this journey wouldn't have been the same. It would have never worked if we hadn't joined our accounts, right? So, if now that I do have an account with him, I can't just buy things because I want them. Like, I actually have to talk to him about it. So, it helps me also think about like, do I really want it, or should I just wait? He'll tell me, can you wait till next time, like next month? I mean, I was telling you about that visor I wanted that was like $40 or something at Lululemon. And I was thinking, like, do I really need the visor? I did not buy the visor. He said I could because it looked cute, but then we both were like, do I need it? And is it worth the $40?
So what's changed is going from like zero accountability, just like getting whatever you want whenever you want, which sounds great, except it created absolute freaking chaos internally and for your finances.
Yeah.
To the two of you getting together on the same page, learning how to communicate, building trust in each other in your marriage, creating that accountability piece, and just like working together as a team on this.
Mhm.
How has that elevated your marriage?
Oh my gosh. So I didn't feel alone with him before, right? Because I like Garrett is my better half, and like I love being that, like literally never get tired of being around him. I could be around him all day, every single day, and I love it. But there's something about once we combined our finances and worked together that way that completely changed everything. Like I remember the first month I would look at him with like a different set of eyes and think like I've never felt so connected to somebody in so many different ways. And I didn't realize like connecting with someone in a financial way was, I mean, that was just like it created even more love than
Yeah.
there was. And I already loved him so much. And I thought, how could I love someone even more? So I feel like we've connected on this like whole new level that I didn't know existed. And I mean, it would never have happened if we hadn't been working with you.
That is amazing. So what would you say to somebody who's on the fence about being intentional with their finances, changing their money situation, who might want some help?
I feel like it's like that diet that always starts on Monday. Like, just don't wait till Monday.
Yeah.
Like, just do it today. I I say and I mean that from like the bottom of my heart, because I was in such a rough place, and like I don't want to get emotional because I feel like my tears are starting to come out, but it was very, very hard. And if I would have asked for help sooner, I would have felt better sooner. And it didn't, you shouldn't have to wait till you're on that like breaking point, like I was, where you just feel hopeless and like things are never going to change. And it doesn't matter. You can't, like $10 extra for a card isn't going to do anything. Like, no, it's possible. Like, everything is possible. So, yeah, I think that that's my biggest message is like, don't wait, just do it now. And it means 6 months later, you'll be where we are and maybe like 24K. But
That and reach out to your community, because you never know, like you might have close friends that are on the same journey, and
yeah,
even working with the Ramsey crew and maybe you and Tracy. but
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, we found out that one of our close friends is on the Dave Ramsey plan too, and we weren't even talking about it. She was talking about it, and then we're like, oh hey, we're doing it too.
That is,
But yeah, definitely network with your
yeah.
friends and close circle, and you might find out they have done it in the past, or what their tips are and whatnot.
yes.
Yeah.
So just to wrap up, because your story is just so freaking motivating and inspirational. All the things that you guys have accomplished, all that you've gone through, from being like feeling like roommates to job loss and feeling hopeless with over 100K like in debt, to like paying off almost 24,000 in 6 months, being on the same page, coming together during job loss, working together as a team, having your marriage elevate, having that confidence and clarity and that stress go way down. Is there anything else that you want to add to the listeners who are watching this?
Stay disciplined because that's hard. Stay very disciplined, and remember your why. So remember what you felt when you reached out in the first place, and remember why you don't want to feel that way ever again. So I think just remember your why and try to stay positive through it. It's not always easy. The beginning is going to feel extremely like, yeah, this is great, like we can do it. And then as it's hard, you're grinding it out, it's hard. And start just trying to stay disciplined and positive and remember your why. I think those are like some of the biggest things I could say. And stick to your budget, because derailing just a little bit, it's like a domino effect.
And also, you don't have to give up everything that you do to get in this plan and this mindset. Like we're big gym people, so like I go to CrossFit, and she does Pilates and sometimes does CrossFit too.
Yeah.
And if you are in that area, those gym memberships are expensive. So you don't have to give up that stuff. You can work it into your budget and still be on track and knock stuff out.
That's great. You don't have to give up things you love to do just because you have debt. You
Yeah.
could still pay off debt and do the things that you love.
Finding that balance is absolutely key, because like if you go scorched earth, like everything gets cut, your brain is going to be like, well, screw this, I'm out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
finding the balance of enjoying life while reaching your goals, like it's up to you guys on the intensity of it. And Garrett, Tatiana, you guys are freaking rock stars. I cannot wait to join you in Nashville sooner rather than later for your debt-free scream. And thank you so much for joining us. So guys, if you are feeling stressed or hopeless, or feel like there is no light at the end of the tunnel, if you feel buried, if you feel like you and your spouse just aren't able to come together on the finances, Garrett and Tatiana are living proof that it is possible, that you can do it, that there is hope. It takes discipline, structured organization for your finances, a vision, and transformation with your relationship with money. All right, guys, thank you so much. And we will see you in our next Client Spotlight series.